2025 is in full swing and you're still figuring out how to make a cube look good in Blender. So today I'll give you some advice on how to level up your Blender skills this year. I'll be covering beginners, intermediates and pros. Well, believe it or not, but I was a beginner once, just like you. And if there are two pieces of advice that I could give myself, it would be this. I can't stress this enough. Stop watching so many tutorials. You might think, but if I don't watch tutorials, how will I learn? The truth is that the best way to improve is by experimenting. Try things out, make mistakes and learn as you go. The F around and find out method still works. And I'm not saying you can't watch any tutorials. Blender is a tool, and like any other tool, it takes practice to master. Just don't get caught up in the tutorial hell. Sure, they're great for learning the basics, but at some point you've gotta dive in and start creating your own stuff. Get something that excites you and make it happen, and work from there. By the way, a word on basics. I know that the word topology is a scary one, especially right now, but you will have to tackle it at some point, so why not learn the basics now? It will save you some time and ease the way going forward. I mean, topology is a silly example, but the point is, while you're a beginner, get comfortable with the basics, and trust me, it will serve you later down the line. Alright, so you know the basics, even made some projects of your own. Now starts the interesting part of your journey. Don't be afraid to break some rules. Yes, I've just talked about learning the basics and now I'm telling to break those rules. Well, as always, the devil is in the details. Yes, stick to the rules when needed, but also don't be afraid to experiment. And it also applies to your workflow. There are a lot of techniques to simplify your workflow. But one example is saving and preparing materials and models. It's like meal prepping. If you know you'll need this model in another project, then why not save it in like an asset library for reuse? For example, I've saved the materials that I've made in one of my previous videos, and now I have 3 cool stylized smart materials that will save me time if I ever need them. I saw the importance of this when I was making a stylized model pack. And to not spread the making of it for a month, I use those materials because wood is wood at the end of the day. And it's easier and way faster to just tweak this than to make the material from scratch, just to get the same result. Alright, let me preface this by saying that even though I have a significant amount of hours in Blender and I have had a few clients as a 3D artist, this is still not a professional by definition. So here I'll just give advice sort of to myself. How will I become better in 3D in 2025? Even though this video is about Blender, I think we all can benefit from exploring other programs. For one, to enhance our own workflow. And yes, you can still keep Blender as your primary tool, but just taking some techniques and workflow changes from other programs can improve your own workflow. That's why I have a few vids planned on Cinema, Houdini and Marmoset. Each of those programs dominates its niche, and there's a lot to learn from them. Look outside 3D. Painters, photographers and sculptors all work with shape, light and composition. Learning from them can seriously level up your Blender skills, so it is a good practice to look outside 3D for inspiration. There are many areas where just knowing the basics can drastically improve your 3D. Going back to the example with a stylized model, I used the technique that is used in hand-painted models, and I think the results speak for themselves. And my advice to all of you is just keep grinding. Going from one level to the next doesn't happen overnight, and you need to work for it. So keep up the great work, keep pushing, and you'll get there. And if this video helped you out, hit the like button and subscribe. And if you want exclusive content, behind the scenes, or just want to support the channel, check out my Patreon. All the links are in the description, but for now, bye bye.